The Little Princess is a short foster care memoir from Casey Watson. This was originally released in 2016. I read it for the first time in 2019 and I've just reread it again. And I did find it to be very fascinating, but it does feel very rushed. And I'll explain what I mean by that with a spoiler warning because I don't want to give away kind of what happens at the end. But it's about a 40-minute read, give or take, depending on your reading speed. And it's about this 6-year-old girl called Darby who comes to stay with Casey and her family a few days before Christmas. And if you're looking for a festive read, on the one hand, it's very festive. Basically, every day has Christmas activities. Casey's family's gathering. There are Christmas presents, Christmas trees. Very, very festive. But on the other hand, it's very dark and harrowing because we learn straight away that Darby has come into care because of a word I can't say on YouTube without being demonetized. She's been part of a very large ring of people who like to film and watch little children. Let's put it that way. And Darby is a very likable character, first of all, and she begins to display questionable behaviors, some of which shocked even me. I've read, as I've mentioned before, maybe 60 foster care memoirs by this point. So I've read several stories that are relatively similar. But at one point, Darby goes into the kitchen to ask Casey's daughter for something. And what she asks her for seemed innocent, but the explanation was horrible. And I don't want to give away what it was, but there are things, the point is, things even that shocked me, despite the fact I've read a lot of stories like this. And obviously, it's very interesting to see how a child can respond to this kind of treatment. And what's most interesting is that Darby was devastated and she wanted to go back home to mummy and daddy, who had, of course, been arrested because they were involved very heavily in this. And it's just so difficult to imagine that a child could face such abuse, even though, of course, the child doesn't necessarily know it's abuse because it's all they know, but still want to be with those parents. And it's difficult to accept. And the reason I said it's quite rushed is because, well, obviously because of the severity of the situation, Darby's care plan is put in place basically immediately after Christmas because there is obviously no way her parents are going to be able to look after her again because of what they've done. So it's not like they have to drag it out for months. Her parents are going through parenting assessments, nothing like that. But at the same time, it's not as if it was day one with Casey, day two with a new family. So I feel like there's so much more to this story that could have been told, and I feel like it could have been really eye opening about her behavior and how it affected her. And I feel like we only got a brief look at the picture. So it does feel very rushed. But at the same time, to its credit, it is making, raising awareness of this kind of situation and saying that this does happen. So what we got was interesting. It was very well written, a lot of very waffly, long winded sentences, but otherwise the grammar was fine. But it does feel very, very rushed. And I feel like it was released just to make some quick money because I feel like even if she was only with Casey for a short while after that, there is so much more we could have found out or more we could have been told. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she displayed no more disturbing behavior. There was nothing else that we could have learned about how this affected her. But I doubt it. I significantly doubt it. However, what we got, as I said, was interesting to read and very eye opening, but it felt very rushed. So it's just worth bearing in mind when you go into it. It is a short story, and you will probably be left feeling like you haven't been told the full story. But other than that, it's still interesting, generally well written. If you're interested in foster care memoirs in general and you don't mind anything that's quite as harrowing as this, obviously they are very difficult to read, but I think they're really important because if people don't talk about this kind of thing, how can we raise awareness? So as long as you can handle this kind of story, then I think you'll find it very eye-opening and very, very fascinating with some of Darby's behaviour and shocking. So in general, what we get isn't too bad, but I definitely felt like we didn't get told the full story.